apologize! I have committed a grievous mistake. I have overestimated my own capabilities whilst underestimating the workload for the originally planned video. Thus, I will be unable to follow the original program, and that video will be pushed back for a few weeks. I deeply apologize. In place, we shall have a video that is different, but staying on the similar topic of Haikyuu. Haikyuu. A video where we will rank teams from the show/series into a tier list. Thank you for your understanding. Okay, we're going to start off with a fan favourite team that has been present since Season 1. In fact, the main obstacle of both, and main antagonist of both Season 1 and Season 2. For Kurosano to overcome, that is. Both times being fights to the bitter end. This team is a staple of the show. They are one of the top 8 teams in their prefecture. In fact, they are the strongest second in the prefecture until the end of Season 2, where Kurosano was able to squeak out a win in a hotly contested match. The team is solid, with talented first years such as Kendaichi and Kunimi, with many players, especially Hinata, saying Kunimi as an immensely talented player. You have a solid outside hitter in Hanamaki, but is prefectural level to prefectural contender level. The same is true with Matsukawa, I think is how you pronounce it, who is definitely a great middle blocker and someone Hinata used as an inspiration for blocking when he was thinking of the most annoying blocker to play against. Their libero is probably prefectural level, but doubles up on that level as both a lib, which is libero, and a setter. Really, when it comes to it, there are 3 standout players. There's the double-edged sword Kentaru, aka Mad Dog, someone who can be at national level threat, but can also be a hindrance, but when correctly used can be a huge advantage. A player who is definitely national level is Uwaizumi, and how do we know this? Well, he's always been consistent, talented player who caused problems for opposition, and when compared with other players from national teams, he fits right in and is even above some. He would be average level, maybe a bit above, but we know mainly because Furutate, the mangaka, said he was of that level. So, the team obviously is Aoba Josai. I know I haven't mentioned it, but it's Aoba Josai, very clearly. So where is this team that is filled with top prefectural players and 2 national level players ranked? Well, on paper, it would seem that they would likely be prefectural contender or prefectural champion. Would be best to suit the players. However, that is not the case. Now, for some of the more aware of you, you have noticed that there has been one major omittance. Well, it's because the player is a top 3 player in his position that we know of, and a player who is stated to raise those around him, elevating them, and it is my boy Akawa, who I definitely don't have a man crush on. He would be ranked as a player equivalent to a national contender level, with amazing serves, conductor-like play, always choosing the best set option, can dump, sets that are easy for his spikers to hit. He is due to bringing out the best of his team, elevates them to national level, despite having never won the prefecture, but that is simply because they're in a prefecture where the teams, who we will get into later, if they were another prefecture, they would probably dominate and be regular nationals, being the poster boy of what a team at nationals should look like. A team that is average at nationals, some good players, great chemistry, plays with a standout outside hitter and a dominant player in Oikawa. So which team is up next? Well, it's none other than our boys at Date Tech. Frankly, they suffer from a similar problem as Aoba Josai in the fact that they have the exact same problem. They're a team that in other prefectures would probably be the winners, but are in an unusually strong prefecture with teams such as Aoba Josai, Kurosuno, and Shiratorizawa. That is why, despite having never won it, I don't think so, at least prior to Season 4, including Season 4 of the anime, they have not even made it to the finals of a prefecture. But I will still be placing them in prefectural winner level, because in other prefectures they could have won. Now, I'm doing this because they are one of the best blocking teams in the entire series. However, they are lacking in other aspects to rank higher than this. They are mostly reliant on Ione, with Koganawa being a key player but a double-edged sword because he's still new. I think a lot of the players are not national level, but their block is so good and intimidating, they will pose a threat to be worthy of standing at the national stage. This is further proven when how following the current year in the time skip, spoilers ahead in this video by the way, they win the inter-high tournament prelims, making it to nationals. This would only be like, a few months after the current spring high tournament. The spring high tournament, after they went to nationals, they were unable to do the same thing, losing out to Kurosuno, who went on to lose against Inurazaki. It is with all this, I say that they're on a similar level with other teams we see at national. Maybe even above some of them. But they are teams I see below most nationals, below the standard. Therefore, a team at this level who can win prefectural levels but not compete against regular/competent teams at national that are higher level but aren't at a shot for winning, such as Nekoma, who we'll get onto later. Up next, we have another fan favourite team, Fukurodani. It's one of the strongest teams in the show. The team has also made it to the spring high tournament, the spring tournament, a total of 28 times, and have made it to the tournament a consecutive 7 times at the 2013 spring tournament, which is where we currently are at. They managed to defeat Mujinzaki High, a top 4 team in the quarterfinals, and later finished as the runners-up after losing to Ichibayashi High. They have some very notable players such as Washio, their third-year middle blocker, a top 10 blocker, maybe higher. Then Akashi, a second-year setter, who is one of the smartest players in the series, as well as a top 5 setters that we are aware of, is probably 4th of the ones we are aware of, beating out Kenma. But the cream of the crop, the jewel in their great team, is Bokuto. A top 5 ace, formerly top 3, being one of the most skilled aces, only being held back by his inconsistencies due to emo mode Bokuto. Due to that's what it's called. Fukurodani was a team that was stated to be above the others at the Tokyo training camps, being the top dog there, and are considered one of the top teams in the nation, maybe even top 8, I think, but I might be a little confused there. Either way, they're going to comfortably be in the national contender, and will sit at the very top. I'm either going to have them top or second top, but I think I've put them top. Yeah, put them top. That's what I'll go for now. Next up, you have Yukiagoi Junior High. Okay, I don't know why this team is even on this list, but that's why I created the bottom tier list, the prefectural loser level, since, well, they're a middle school team, and it's a team that consists of a tennis player, a soccer player, and a basketball player, I believe, and other scrubs, with the only volleyball player being Hinata, who, even that's a stretch, because he has no foundation at all, just enthusiasm and his speed with jumping ability. So they're going right at the bottom, right to the very bottom. Now, up next, we have the team I'm going to put in the top tier at champion level, because very little is known about this team. In fact, we're only aware of 2 players, Komori, and Sakuza, both top players. Komori being the best libero in the country, and Sakuza being a top 3 ace, aka the second, despite only being a second year. They are both players who were at the old Japan youth training camp. What we do know is they were ranked favourites going into the Spring High tournament, but went out due to their setter getting injured, a player who we don't know much about, but is definitely top 10, maybe even the top 5. And think about Kuroshino or Abujosai or Inarizaki losing their main setter. They would still struggle, though I think Inarizaki would struggle less. But all of those teams would definitely struggle. Up next, we have Josenji High. The boys' volleyball club banner is simplicity and fortitude, in accordance with the team's former playing style. In recent years, the team has been average, having decent defensive ability but lacking offensively. 1 year prior to the series, the current time period, Josenji's dynamic completely changed under new leadership with the addition of the current second years with the intent of rebuilding the team from the ground up. And the new coach, Anabara, had its members practice through 2-on-2 matches against one another. And during the next year's inter-high prelims, not only did the team consist of 5 second years and 2 third years, but they even made it into the top 4. But this change made them able to climb to the top 4 and become a top 8 team is the same thing that stops them being able to climb higher. Due to their athleticism, unpredictability, and energy, they are difficult to play against, but when they come up against actually strong teams, they won't be able to overcome them. This is precedent because they have lost to both Abujosai and Kuroshino. I'm unsure how they would do against a team like Date Tech. I can't decide if their unpredictability will be difficult for the well-trained block of Date Tech, or if the block would crush the untrained, well, not untrained, but unpolished Josenji. That's why I'm putting them prefectural contender level. With their style, I cannot see them winning the prefectural level in any of the prefectures that we are aware of. But on the average, they would definitely be a contender who is top 8 in many, perhaps higher, because we know they finished top 4, decently stacked. So I am putting them a prefectural contender. Up next is Kakugawa High. To be honest, the most middling team you'll ever find. And that's me being nice. They have somewhat smart setter, but nothing special. The rest of the team is bang average at best. But there is one player that stands above the rest, both figuratively and literally. Yudai Hyakazawa, who stands at 6 feet 7.5, or roughly 2 meters tall. I think it's like 202 centimeters tall. His height and his power helps the team both become a threat. His height messes with blockers' perceptions, and he often hits straight over the block. His height does allow for some great blocking. So they can't be in the lowest tier, that's for sure. So how high are they? Well, against the best teams, they would be destroyed, like they were against Kuroshino. But the same would be said against Abujosai. And I feel like Date Tech would shut down everyone else, but struggle slightly with Hyakazawa. But Ione, I think, is tall and good enough to cut down his effectiveness and get points, so they would beat them somewhat comfortably. Josenji are good enough. They would struggle, but the unpredictability to the point that the rest of the team would struggle. And for that reason, I'm putting them prefectural level. They would be at the top of this rank, but I don't see them being one of the top teams or standing in with a chance of contending for the prefectural level. Up next is one of the best teams who we have yet to see in the anime. I believe it will be the next movie, or if they're doing another series, which there are rumors about, it will be the next season. It is Kamomedai. Kamomedai's team is focused on 3 core tenets: serving, blocking, and mental fortitude. Of the 6 starting players, 5 of them make use of jump serves or jump floater, with 3 of their players, Hoshiumi, Higurumi, and Suwa, noted by Shimada to have a particularly nasty serve. Their blocking is among the best in the nation, likened to a maxed out version of Date Tech by Yukai. Like Date Tech, they specialize in read blocking, and they employ tactics such as bunch shifts in with the blockers, where all three blockers bunch up in the middle of the court, stack blocking in which all three blockers bunch up to one side of the court and mark the opposing ace or another powerful, and shading in the two blockers bunch up. I've lost my train of thought there. Kamameda's greatest strength, instilled in them by coach Aaron Murphy, is the mental toughness of its players. Their minds and quality of play do not deteriorate based on the state of the game, and thus they're unaffected by the opponent's actions or even losing sets. Their players have expressed that they do not believe in the concept of momentum, and thus are able to play their best under any circumstances. Murphy likens this to seagulls being able to fly in any conditions. The team's most well-known players are three of their second years: Korai Hoshiyumi, Hirogumi, and Gaio Hakuba. Hoshiyumi, known as the Little Giant, is the team's ace, known for his incredibly high jump and mastery of mid-air battles. Hirogumi, nicknamed the Immovable Hirogumi, is the cornerstone blocker, feared for his ability to never fall for decoys and his mastery of read blocking. Hakuba, in spite of his lack of experience, is a towering 203 centimeters and is very formidable on both offense and defense. The team is described by Yukai as having placed in the top 8 in the previous year and is not a well-known powerhouse, but have gotten very good in the most recent years, most likely due to Murphy being the new coach and focusing on strengthening certain areas. This team was able to stop Kuroshino at Nationals in the Spring High Tournament. Kuroshino, which have stopped the Ultimate Challenger in Inurazaki, as well as the rivals in the Battle of the Garbage Dumpster against Nekoma. They are able to reach the semi-final in 2013, the year they played against Kuroshino, then the final the year after against Itachiyama. It is unknown who won, I believe. This shows their caliber, and for that, I'm putting them towards the top of this tier. In fact, I'm putting them just behind Fukurodani, but I believe those two could be interchangeable. Up next, we have another junior high team. Kitagawa Daiichi Junior is another easy one. You just like Hinata's team, since they're both middle school teams, say they would get smashed by high school teams, while this team does have talented players like Kodaichi, Kunami, Kageyama, they are a team that does not get on well, especially between Kageyama and the rest of the team. They failed at middle school because of it. So then they're going first round losers. They are just that level. Up next, we have, yet again, another fan favourite. There are so many fan favourite teams, and it is Nekoma. Nekoma and Kuroshino are destined rivals for the Battle of the Garbage Dump, or the Trash Can Showdown in the English version. Nekoma are represented by cats and Kuroshino are crows. They are a team that is very difficult to play against due to the consistency in receiving. If the ball doesn't drop, you won't lose, is more or less their philosophy. Well, connect is, but still. It's not even that it's hard to score against them, it's that it's draining both physically and mentally. Kuro is their star middle blocker and is a top 3 in the series. Says that they're a team not filled with stars, but a team that's connected. They would be able to play, they would be hard to play against and have always done a really great job against Kuroshino. In fact, they have never lost an unofficial game. In fact, the only time we see them lose to Kuroshino is in the Battle of the Garbage Dump at Nationals. They're a great team, but I do see them struggling against top teams, especially Kamomedai, who can shut down their offense. I think they would struggle against Shiro Torizawa due to the sheer power and left-handedness of Ushijima, but I'd say that they'd be able to handle him with receives better than most. For that reason, I can't put them in the same tier as those teams, but will put them at the top of national level above the likes of Aoba Josai. Up next, we have Nahobaya Academy, or should I say the Dirty Nekoma. They played in the Land versus Air, I believe. That's the name of the movie. Or was it a season? They're very much like Nekoma. They excel in defense and consistency, focusing its tactics on slowly inducing self-destruction of other teams or players rather than rushing for a win. Its playing style consists of feints, blockouts, pinpoint serves, with its members are exceptionally strong at. They made it to a top 4 in Spring High prelims. Noaba is a formidable opponent, though the reason I call them dirty is because they're cheating tactics and try to win by like blocking the ref's view or things like that. But they are going in the tier just below Nekoma. Nekoma struggled against them, but I can't put them on the same tier as Nekoma when they had to resort to cheating to beat Nekoma. Up next we have Uhigimaya. Yeah, I'm not very good with these names. I do apologize, but they are... not much is known about this team. No, that's not what I was going to say. This is a bang average team. They're a team with a defeatist attitude. Oh, this team, yeah. A team with a defeatist attitude, but in their game against Kurosuno, were able to develop a fighting attitude and the will to train more after that, but it's a bit too little too late. They weren't terrible, but nothing special. The poster boys of prefectural level. And I'm going to put them below the one with Hyakuzawa, because they would lose to that team. Up next is a team we don't know much about, Ogi Nishihai. Not known as much other than they played against Kurosuno in 2011 and 2012, winning 2011, where they won both sets, and losing both sets in 2012, which took place after the Inter-High. From this, I would say that they're an average team, probably the higher end of average, but we don't know for sure. So I'm placing them just in the middle of the prefectural level, below Hyakugawa, since they wouldn't be Hyakuzawa. Up next, we have the main team, Kurosuno. We know all about this team. I don't need to go over there, so I'm just going to rank them straight away at national contender level. They are in this tier because they have faced and beat teams below, like Aoba Josai and Nekoma. And I feel like they would win consistently over those teams. And they even beat teams in the same tier as them, such as Inarizaki and Shiratorizawa. Now, we've already ranked Shiratorizawa, I believe. No, we have yet. But those two teams are in the same level, right? I'm going to spoil it now. We will get onto those, but we all know they're contender levels. One was literally known as the Ultimate Challenger. Where I'll rank them on that list will be a bit of a surprise. But they did also lose to Camel Medai. But that was a close game, and if Hinata didn't get ill or injured, they might have stood a chance. So up next we have Sarugawa Tech. The boys volleyball club has the banner that reads "Rising Up Every Time" in accordance to their persistent play style. The team is noted to have a very strong defense. This is most likely to the result of the coach Shio being the previous student of Nekoma's coach Nekomata. Under the guidance of the coach, the team favours a playstyle of pressuring their opponents little by little. The team's priority is not making perfect plays and overwhelming their opponents directly. Instead, they are willing to make consistent and average plays if it means it will benefit them in the long run. They're a B-Tech version of Nekoma. Over time, they might become better than but they're currently below Nekoma. Therefore, I am rating them prefectural champion level, but I could see an argument for national level. But I don't want to put them on the same tier as Nekoma, even if they took Nekoma to 3 sets. But I don't know if that's because they're that good, or if it's because they both play the long game. Shinzi High is up next. Their players, masters of using combos. This is where Kurosuno learnt to do the, Unified attack? I forgot the name. Synchronized attack. Blah, how could I forget it? It's right here as well. Which is when all the spikers move at once to spike, leaving the opponents confused and making them unpredictable. Shinzin High is a member of the Fukurodani Academy group, which is composed of teams from the Kanto region. For years, the school have been holding summer training camps and practicing matches with each other. They lost in the finals of the Spring High Saitama Prefecture Representative Playoffs in full sets to Higashiri High. Now, I personally would put them at national level, despite that they didn't make it there during the season. However, you could argue that, like Aoba Josai, especially since, they are from one of the strongest prefectures, but you can argue that they're in 1 or 2 tiers below, like prefectural challenger or champion level. But I'm putting them in national level because I think to be in the Fukurodani training academy, you have to be like a national level team. Up next, we have the big boys, Shiratorizawa. Shiratorizawa are definitely one of the best teams in the series. They have a top players and prospects, Shirabu being on average or above average setter for nationals. Same with Leon as an outside hitter. Tendo is a double-edged sword, who is one of the better middles on his day. Goshiki is a top national level prospect. The ultimate jewel on the crown, though, is Ushijima, the number 1 ace in the country with height, power, technique, left-handed. It is no wonder Shiratorizawa dominated the prefecture at both the high school and middle school level. They are definitely going in national contenders. Though out of the 4 teams, I plan to put them second last. However, these teams are easily interchangeable, which does mean I am putting them above Kurosano. And I know what you're thinking. How could you put them above Kurosano? Kurosano beat them. I think it's that Shiratorizawa team, I think, could have beaten that Kurosano teams more, times than not. And I believe they could have gone to nationals, and obviously they would have improved had they had gone there. And I see them beating a lot of the teams at nationals and being one of the contenders, because in fact they always have been one of the contenders. Up next is Tsukubashi Academy. This is the team with the bandanas that Kurosano played against in the first rounds. The team where they had a pinch over who served underarms. They are the definition of prefectural champions. They lost the first round at nationals, though to be fair, it was against one of the top sides. When I try and compare them against other teams, the teams who made it to national are at a national level, they just don't stack up, in all honesty. For example, Nekoma and Aoba Josai. So they are going in prefectural champion, and I currently have them at the bottom below Date Tech and the others. But yet again, that's quite interchangeable. I think you could put Date Tech at the top or at the bottom, because I think Date Tech are very good, but also they've never made it to nationals. Ugabugawawa. That was most definitely butchered. They're a team that excels in jump serves, a skill that members refine by doing 100 serves after practice every day. They commonly use the serve and block, a strategy in which the player aims to destroy their opponents with a serve, try to limit the opponent's attack space, and then block. They are also part of the Fukurodani Academy group, which is composed of teams from the Kanto region. For years, the school have been holding summer training camps and practice matches with one another, as we've already said. And the show shows them being equal to Shinzen High, so it's a no-brainer to put them in the same tier. They're going national level. Now we have 2 teams remaining. Wakatun Minami High, the boys volleyball club, has excellent defense and coordination. They're solid at receives and connection. It helps bring out their A game and counter effortlessly. Kishin Yukai has compared its receiving to Nekoma High. They're one of the top 4 powerhouses in the Miyagi prefecture until its recent loss to Kurosano. The team captain, Takeru Nakashima, idolizes the little giant, who had played in the strongest team Kurosano had ever had, and developed his own fighting style based off the aces. Takeru often hits the ball to his opponent's fingers to make it ricochet, either giving his team a chance to change its attack or causing the ball to go out so his teammates can get a point. This technique usually gives opposing teams a lot of trouble, and it's been said that since Takeru has become a 3rd year, Wakatuni Miami's strength has increased exponentially, making the current team one of the most powerful in the school's history. They, however, rely too much on Takeru, who whilst is a good player, is not at the level to carry them high enough, so therefore I'm going to rank them the same as Joe Senjai as prefectural contenders. I'm probably going to put them above, because I see them as better. Like, they are a solid team. I just think If they had like 1 or 2 more players, they would make it to champion level. Because I think Takuro is very good, but he's not good enough to keep them up there by himself. So finally, we come down to Inarizaki, the ultimate challengers. They have one of the most star-studded squads in the series. A top 3 setter in Atsumu, a top 5 ace in Aaron. Now, I am going to put them in national contender, putting them above Shiratorizawa, and that's for Kurosano. Yet again, one of the best opposites, and the other side of the best twin, Osamu. You're saying, oh, but Kurosano beat them. Don't forget one of the best middles in Suna. It's no wonder they are so good. I think they're just so star-studded and so good that it's hard to put them below. It was a one-off game, but at the same time, we know some of them might, like Atsumu has his days, and he was definitely having his day then. But I think he was having too much of his day. He was on point a bit too much that he got careless. But I'm not going to put them against Kamo Medai, because I think while they're very good offensively and defensively, I just think Kamo Medai's consistency and high-level players and blocks would stop them. And I think they're similar to Fukurodani, but I think Bokuto is better than Aaron. And if he's on his day, if they're all on their days, it would be a close match, entertaining match, but I think they'd win. So that is my tier list. We have champion levels. We have Itachiyama, the contenders, Fukurodani, Kamo Medai, Inarizaki, Shiratorizawa, and Kurosano, making up the top 6 teams. Then at national levels, teams that should be making it to national levels, or at the decent level of what the standard should be, you have Nekuma, Aoba Josai, then you have the 2 other teams I've mentioned that I've just forgot their name, Ugabawa High and Shinzen High. The combo attack synchronized team and the serve team. If you guys think any different, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys think below. Who do you think should be in what tier? And I know I've made some pretty wild calls. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I apologise for not doing the video that was meant to come out today, but I will be working on that. Thank you guys for watching.